Yeah. We have everything set. Good night. It's Monday, the 27th of September 2021, and damn, how time flies, right? I wanted to start off at 8:30, and by the time I spin around, I done 8:40, just like that, right? But definitely blessings to you guys. Hoping you're having an amazing Monday. Hope you had an amazing weekend, and you're looking forward to an amazing week, right? Like everybody else. It's definitely a lot happening in our little country, a lot happening in our little zone, right? And I have to continue to urge everyone to keep safe. Make sure you think about your safety first, and then you look at everything else that follows, right? So make sure that you keep safe in your little zone, and make sure that you keep healthy and you keep building up that immune system, right? Which is key for us here in Belize. I got a chance to look at look at a couple speeches from the UN, and those are interesting. So I definitely will urge you to, if you get a chance, look at some of the UN speeches or part of the UN debate, where you hear from different leaders, the different world leaders, right, in one setting. And of course, we got to hear from our Prime Minister and some of his messages, and from some of the other presidents and prime ministers from around the world. Definitely some interesting listen. The one that stood out for me was Brazil, particularly for two reasons. One was the way they're producing energy, right? Looking at like 83% the energy they produce are right from within and all renewable energy. So, and a lot of other countries voiced what they were doing, and I thought, a lot of times our prime ministers and our leaders go to these debates, and we bring nothing from them. We act like we hear nothing from them, when it should be a learning experience, right? So that's one thing I can share with you tonight. Take a look at the different UN speeches. Figure out which one you like. Put some comments below so that we know where to go on. And again, I am on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. My YouTube people might think I forgot them. I normally do tutorials on my YouTube site, and I kind of slowed down. And somebody remind me today that I need to jump back into the creation of some more tutorials, and some people are interested in the video editing stuff, which of course I just started about a year and a half ago, but definitely would like to share some tutorials. So I'll be thinking about some tutorials for the video editing stuff for people who like that, right? In our Independence Day recently gone, a lot of the virtual celebrations were really good. That is what we have to do now, given the condition that we're in, given the situation with the COVID-19. But definitely, again, gave a different group of people a chance to showcase some of their skills on some of the online platforms, right? So everybody, I haven't heard of any major incidents for Independence Day. It's 40, so Belize at 40. All the different speeches that came out of the Independence Day stuff, were excellent. And again, words are always good, but we need some action. And this is definitely time for call for action from our people if we are to save Belize, right, beyond 40. And so we have, and I could say we have a lot of leaders in terms of palabras, right? But now we need some leaders to step up and get things done for our people, or to lead the way, right? To lead the way in some of the things that they want to see accomplished for our nation. Our nation is getting older, and of course we will phase out at some point, and it'll be left to the younger generation to take over, right? Which is why it is so important that we connect with them now and ensure that they are ready to take over Little Belize. PG Town, as per norm, and I'm saying it smiling because it was a huge part of what we were saying in the beginning. The roads, man, I have to bring it up. I try to bring it up, The roads are terrible in PG Town. I don't know what else for say for convince, people that we have a lot of work to do in terms of preparation of our infrastructure in PG and what's the way forward. Uh, a lot of people kind of continuously ignore the fact that our roads are dilapidated. I From last 2 years, we've been talking about it, and I had a video in one of my YouTube videos that was entitled "The Worst Roads in the World," and a friend from the US, he came down and he told me, Bob, want to really have the worst roads in the world, right? And so it's definitely not a good image. A lot of people are turned away from Punta Gorda simply because of our road condition, and of course, it costs us to get our vehicle tuned and fixed every time. Even for ride bike by the road, terrible. Even for walk with all the water, it's terrible. I see people making moves to kind of try to drain the street, and that's a excellent idea, but we pay our taxes, and so at some point we'll have to start to demand that our tax dollars are spent in our town, and that is key. That's the kind of the underlying thing for that we pay our taxes, right? And I think about how much tax I pay in terms of income tax, right? And then I have all the little different taxes that we pay as we go through our everyday life here in Punta Gorda town. So I am appealing to the people who can get it done, right? Start with one man. We don't have to do a lot. We don't have to do all. Start with one road. I will go from there. I have shared a bunch of ideas in the past that you guys can fill it up, and this is the beauty about having the video history, right? In that you can always go back to my videos that I have on Facebook and that I have on YouTube as a reference to see, these are some of the things that we needed, that we needed to address. Maybe we missed it, right? Or some people have said, well, the resource not there, but you wanted the position, let's make use of it, right? Also, there's a good coming out when I look at where we're moving in terms of IT infrastructure for the taxes. So there was a launch today for the online tax payment stuff. That's a very good initiative, and I continue to applaud the people working on the e-government initiative. So it'll hopefully soon come true now that you're able to pay your taxes off your phones, right? And all that calculation will be done and everything else. With that said, I have to, ask the people who employ the IT people to, make sure that they have time to do what they need to do too, right? Because then it's something new that we're jumping into. So all the users will have some issues, and all the people managing these systems will have some issues as we go along. But definitely a good initiative as it pertains to the e-government and everything else. We definitely want to see everything else linked up. I was thinking about all the payments of the bills online, and it's so much better when you could pay some of your bills online right from home, instead of having to get in that line and waiting in the sun hot, and that our offices are small, right? So it definitely helps for us. And there's always hope when it comes to where we're going in PG and in Belize, but particularly in PG, I want to big up all the young entrepreneurs, all the people who they start something and they try to survive. There are hard times, because for sure these are hard times, right? So if you're trying something new, man, big up yourself. Definitely stay at it. I passed a couple of young people today walking around, heading to their little work spot, heading to their little business, right? Just getting things done. I know the Bolo Academy recently launched their yard cutting thing. I was doing a little bit of planting outside, and I urge everybody to start doing a little bit of planting for yourself too, right? but the grass grow fast, right? The grass grow really fast. But again, and I'm tying that into what the Bolo Academy is offering, where they have the young men going around with the cleaning stuff, and so they have their weed eaters, very affordable. The flyers are around, give them guys a call, get the yard clean. This is the Lee rainy season. Like every night it rain in a PG. I don't know if it happens anywhere else, but every night it rain in a PG. And what is even more scary right now, for me, what I'm noticing is the change in the weather pattern in terms of when there's no rain, there is a lot of thunder roaring, right? So it sounds like there's a war outside, and then the showers just come down and everything flood out and all the roads get bad again, and it starts all over again every day, right? But that's Toledo, right? So it's like welcome to Toledo. But what we were blessed with when it comes to water is that you don't have to water the plants the next day, because the rains definitely will hit it. Yeah. In fact, you have to mind that the water will wash away your plants, right? Well, we do have a lot of water, and so you definitely need to do some drainage in the area if you're planting also. And that's a problem I have with where I am, and so I had to dig a drain across the little planting area, and I put down some okra, but I think that the rains will not do me justice, right? And of course, for people who live in my area, I had a large amount of chickens, and I actually put a pause on them for right now, particularly because of the Newcastle disease that showed up, right? So it means I give it a break, have that vanish for a while, and then I go back to it again. But it gives me a chance to reuse the soil for something else other than growing animals. Then there's the other issue as it pertains. Yeah, that's true. The grass grow faster than the food we plant. For real, yeah. I set down some cabbage seedling, some carrots, and to me like they stay stunted, but the grass they grow. So I might have to find. Somebody gave me an idea, and I don't know if anybody is doing it, but they spoke about fever grass, and fever grass should grow well in these regions, and then you can make all the the tourist name, lemongrass, and then you can make all that lemongrass extract and so forth, right, and other things from it. So might be an idea, a lot of ideas out there, and this is what I keep telling people, that there's a lot of things that we can think about. I just find out that time is really limited, right, for one or two people to do, and so I will urge you to share some ideas, group up, and see if you could get them done, right? I know I missed last week. Somebody reminded me of that. They said, "Oh, but you missed last week." Again, I missed it because of the September celebration. I realized that a lot of the work that I'm doing now is in demand at this time, and so I definitely have to look at training or get somebody trained also to follow up, right, or to get some of the video works done and some of the photography. So, King Zahiro, you have your agenda cut out. Get some training in, right? Another pressing issue for us, and it's a sad time for Belize again when we look at the senseless killing of another youth man, another young brain, another young individual, somebody with a bright future. Definitely touched me because my son is around the same age range, and so it shows how much more careful we have to be. And this is just, right now, and I keep saying this, and I said it a while back, these are trying times. And these are trying times essentially because man will get desperate, man will get crazy, right? And so we have to really, really, really start looking out for ourselves. It's not that we'll become cowards in our own country, but the people who know these people, who are not afraid to hurt other people, should definitely speak out, and let's get them out of our society. People like those we don't need, and I'll be frank, people like those we don't need, right? And then the problem is that there are people who will shelter them, and there are people who will hide them from us, and there are people who worship them, right? And that's a crazy part, that you know that if I know that my friend, or well, if I call him friend, if I know a guy who killed someone, believe me, I'd make somebody know about you, because I might be next, or one of my friends might be next, or my child might be next, right? So we live in a society now where we have to stop sheltering these bandits, right? Stop sheltering these gunmen, I go and call them, because we have a lot of that at Belize apparently. Where they get the firearm from, I don't know, but it's there, you know. There's a lot of illegal firearm in our country. I think definitely, while I can't say that I really support all the roughing up that the police will give them, you know, because there are going to be a couple innocent ones in the mix. But I saw the press conference today, weird press conference, by the way, with a couple of the young men who claim to be gang leaders. And I was just thinking that just me being there for an interview would have been scary, right? With a couple of guys from different parts of Belize City. It is clear that Belize City is totally out of hand now, and people will blame a whole lot of different issues, but the truth is that we are all responsible. And I hear the parent when the parent says that it's the job of the parents, essentially. So we need to start, looking at the image we portray to our young ones. We need to start talking to them, and we need to remember that they exist, and we need to start putting in some positive vibes into them. And somebody also mentioned to me about the issue of churches, and you know what, I think churches did their thing back in the days to keep society intact, but we have seen more and more where the disappearance of that house of worship is gone, right? But again, people will blame the COVID situation, but there's a lot that contributes to the removal of God from the whole equation. And so now we have a lot of young people moving around who play a lot of weird, violent video games, who listen to a lot of weird, violent songs, and so they become very violent, And I fully support the idea of some of the entertainers, and these are the people who create music, coming out, and I saw a couple on Facebook, I don't remember some of the names, but essentially saying that they will no longer be recording some of these bad man music, because you know why? You hear all these words every day about killing and fighting and shooting, and for some of these young people it becomes reality, right? It is true that if you keep hearing something every day something is in your head, it becomes your reality, right? And it's hard, especially when you're at that age, that tender age, because definitely these guys who are committing these crimes are very young. I mean, this is history for me, looking at everything and seeing so many young people dying, and looking at the guys who claim to be their gang leaders, and those are leaders without vision, but claim to be their gang leaders, and they are 35, 40 years old. Those guys are around my age range, and really and truly their accomplishment has been nothing, right? More than leading a couple young people astray. But I can see that they're asking for help, and that's the other part of the story. They're asking for help now, but they don't know where to look, and so of course they look at the politicians and say, we'll blame you. But again, it's definitely a huge societal issue, and everybody needs to play their role. It is true what some of them said, that millions of dollars are pumped into some of these areas, and millions of dollars are wasted, and there's no social program as such, or there's no program aimed at youth development. Recently we heard about the $14 million aimed at youth development, and I kept asking, what are we doing in PG? And I'm concerned particularly about my area, and some people say, oh, you're selfish, right? But if we can acquire some funds to start some of these programs and get some young people involved, it definitely will help. Again, I gave the example the last time. I think it is Barbados, who the education is free for your sixth farm, essentially your sixth farm level. And so when you're finished with high school, you have a continuity into something else, right? What we're not seeing is a lot of the data that will show that we have a lot of dropouts from high school right now between last year and the year before, and particularly this year, those students who won't go back. I liked the address. Again, I was reading the address from the president, right? Prime minister, moving on to president, because they're shifting now for Barbados, and she was essentially saying, we have all the resources to give everybody in this world a tablet. And I look at Belize and say, we have all the resources to give everybody, in all students in Belize, a tablet, or give all of them a laptop, but yet we don't do it. We have all the resources to ensure that our telecom company push internet and lower the cost for everybody in Belize, but we don't do it. But instead, we talk and we condemn some of the other people who are in government, and we go back and we pump in 20 odd million into a road, 30 odd million into a road that is not needed yet, right? But we need to start prioritizing how we develop, how we move forward for Belize. And it's a difficult thing, and people will say, oh, yeah, I mean, you just attack it, right? But at the end of the day, the government in power manages the money that you pay, manages your tax money. Every time you go and buy gas, you pay a tax. Every time you go and you buy goods at the store, you pay a tax, right? Every time we go to work, we're paying income tax, right? And so we need to better manage those funds. And a lot came out from that little press conference, and the Prime Minister gave his, well, he didn't do a press conference, he did a pre-recorded session, maybe because he was traveling, I don't know. But our Prime Minister have not been doing a lot of press conferences recently. But I mean, the gangsters got a press conference, right? I'm sure if I call a press conference to hear some of the stuff and some of the ideas, you're not get it, right? But again, this is just times that we live in. All right, I feel like I chip. All right, so what do you think about the shooting online games for our children indulge themselves in? Definitely. I mean, I'm a huge game fan, but when you think about it now, and I think about the impact of the gaming industry, and looking at it from the standpoint that this is all they're seeing 24/7. It wasn't like the way I used to play games is that I would play a couple hours and I'm out again, and I come back and but now these kids are on for a year and change. And so that violence, right, that they're seeing, it's all good, to have all the devices, but you have to start restricting them into what they're doing, right? And of course, I have my own role to play in that too. So, the best part of them causing neglect to school work, we're probably envisioning Taliban. So definitely, the games have their own impact. And like I mentioned, this is more the job of the IT people and how we move forward in terms of filtering some of the stuff. And we don't want to be filtering for country, we can do it filter by different organizations or by different homes. I know a lot of parents were asking me, how do we restrict stuff? And you know what, the kids are smart. They'll find ways around some of these stuff that we put on, right? But there are ways. You have to do a little bit of research. But some of the best, one of the best things to do, and I keep telling people, is the education process for your child. Just tell them, talk to them. And somebody brought it up to that. Right now, because of how bad things are, I think about it for the public workers who got their 10% cut, and everybody else who that affects, right? They're on the grind. So if you have 5-6 picnic home, stay home again with them. You take off, you can work, you can try and make yours because you got mouth to feed. Now, while you're out, where are they, right? Are you sure that they're at home? And so we have a lot of teenagers left home now, alone, and they're hoping that they're on the device in the online classes, when in reality, some of them do escape and hit the streets, and then they return back when ma or pa return in the evening, right? So it is difficult times, and for those public workers who lost that 10%, and I'm rubbing it in because it is serious, that 10% could have been what they would have paid for to have somebody at home with the child. Now they're saying, yeah, what, you're 15, you're 13, you could stay by yourself, man, you're good for the day, right? Some food there by the stove that'll run you the day until I get back later. This is the kind of society we're creating, and this didn't just happen overnight. This was in the making a long time ago, right? From the time we used to, and we look at the situation now with the gang members, and I'll put it in quotes, and I could still remember the big payoff for the under the UDP crowd, bargaining with the gang members and paying them and sending some of them to PG with housing and everything, right? And then when shit hit the fan, now things get bad for we, now things get bad on society, where you can't or you don't feel comfortable moving around in some of your places. Just tonight in my zone, and this is after curfew, 7 o'clock curfew, after curfew, somebody run past the house, dash in some bush, God knows where you're gonna go, but these are the type of things that will start to happen, and so we all need to be very vigilant, and we all need to be our brother's keeper, right? And don't be afraid to speak up. If you see something is wrong or you see something looking suspicious, the new OC for us here in Punta Gorda town has really done it different, where there's a WhatsApp number that you can get through to him, and you can text, and you see something suspicious in the area, you can text to that and he will react and get things moving, right? So definitely that's something that the other districts can use for their area. And I hear the commissioner again, and I'm taking long on this topic, but I hear the commissioner again talking about, even if we have to do this, and if we have to do that, and if we have to do that, man, alone talk. I remember them coming to PG, and I can tell you, we just changed, we'll see the PG, which was a good change, right? And they still, things slow down in PG, which is good, but they promised that we'll put cameras in the hotspot, the same old use of technology, but still not use it. Same thing happened, right? And so they wait until things happen, and then they can't catch the people who are responsible for some of these actions. But you know what, I'll stop there. I'm getting, I think I'm talking a lot. Good. So, but the year is flying by, we're heading into October now. Next thing you know, 19th, around December, there, money I spend again, right? But I do encourage people to start saving, start working, start looking for alternative way of making your finance, right? Start looking for the lead hustle, like what they call it, right? No, not the bad hustle, the good hustle. And hustle means that you're always in that mood for making money, and you'll find something else to do, whether it's planting something or chopping a yard, right? Doing a little mechanic work for somebody, walking a dog. People pay for anything, so definitely capitalize for anything this all and make yours, because things just get harder, and start looking out for some of these kids. I want to make a point that the change that we are looking for needs to come from us. And I say this because I feel like, while I feel like I'm doing my part, I feel like there are certain people who can do more. And I use the example of the sports has stopped, and I have to applaud my brother. He does the volleyball thing with a bunch of kids in the evening. That's a place for them to be and have an activity, right? I definitely try to contact with the youths in terms of the whole music thing, which is why I got into the video works thing anyway for the music video, because I didn't make music video, but now they're reaching out and they want to record song, they want to do this for different things, they want to take photos. Make space in your time for at least 2 or 3 people. Reach out to 2 or 3 youths, 2 or 3 young people, especially if you feel like they need help. Because there are some who will make it in this world no matter what. You don't even have to help them, right? But if you feel like they need that help in terms of guidance, reach out to them so that they know they have somebody to talk to. We have a lot of very influential people in our community right here in PG. I'm asking you to reach out to 2 young people. Reach out to 2, right? For this month. So that they know they have somebody to talk to. And, yeah, and you'd be surprised to know that they actually look up to you, right? But don't hide in a corner and hope that everything will get better, right? We have one of the most powerful weapons on us, and that's our mouth, right? Let's use it for the right thing, right? Talk to some of these young people, offer some word of advice. If you can help out, help out. If you can provide, provide. We don't take anything to heaven, it's us when we go, right? But definitely reach out and help. That's the only way we will change our society. We can't depend on only one thing or one set of people and say they will change it for us, they will fix this issue. This is an issue that is underlying, comes from everybody being a part of it. Everybody needs to be a part of the solution, right? Good. With that then, that's my live for this Monday. I want to thank you guys for being here with me. Looking forward to next Monday again. Belize, we continue to grow. We're at 40. Hopefully 41 will be a better year for us, right? And with that, I'm out, guys. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.